Here's the bottom line. We've had a tracker on your vehicle this whole time. Yesterday, when you drove up to where you went, it tracked you going up there. You took us to your mom's grave yesterday. Clark, what happened to your mom?
I don't know what to say.
Tell us what happened. Man up.
I didn't drive anywhere.
You did, Clark. You fucking did. There's no doubt in that. We can prove that. Because you know, Clark, somebody that kills their own mother is a monster.
She was a grandmother, a widow, and a familiar face at her local Home Depot. But one quiet Sunday afternoon in 2017, Kay Atkins Rains vanished without a trace, and what followed was a nightmare that no one saw coming. At 68 years old, Kay lived alone in a quiet neighborhood on Pace Parkway in West Mobile, Alabama. She'd spent the last 2 decades adjusting to life after her husband's passing, working part-time and keeping to herself. But when she suddenly stopped showing up for work, it set off alarm bells. Kay was responsible, reliable, and deeply routine-driven. Missing a shift without notice was completely unlike her. Her employer, worried and unable to reach her, filed a missing persons report on January 29th. Police quickly learned that Kay had been seen 2 days earlier at her regular hangout, the Beau Rivage Casino. Gambling had become a part of her lifestyle after losing her husband, and over the years she'd lost millions. Despite the enormous financial losses, it appeared Kay was still living in her home and making ends meet. But beneath the surface, something was clearly wrong. Authorities discovered that Kay had a grown son, Clark Rains, who had recently moved in with her. On the outside, it may have seemed like a son helping care for his aging mother, but Clark had a history. Years of substance abuse, failed stints in rehab, and erratic behavior in his past raised red flags for detectives. Neighbors had known of his struggles and watched cautiously as he settled into his mother's home. But recently, he seemed cleaned up and stable, at least on the surface.
Your first name is Bruce, right?
Yes.
How long has Miss Kay lived next to you?
8 or 9 years. Her mother owned the house, and when she died, Kay moved in.
With 5 days gone and still no sign of Kay, local police transferred the case to Mobile's homicide unit. There was still no evidence of foul play, but detectives couldn't ignore the unsettling details stacking up. Her sudden disappearance, her large gambling losses, and a troubled adult son now living under her roof. Then came a strange observation from a neighbor.
Kay did have a gambling issue. After her husband died and then her mother got sick and the rest of it, Kay would go to Biloxi, Las Vegas, and gamble. Her husband made really good. Well, I always found it strange when she had to get a job. Suddenly, reality hit her in the face that I may not have enough to live on this.
A garbage truck idled unusually long in front of Kay's house the morning she was reported missing. The driver got out, looked around, then left. An odd event, but not conclusive.
Can you think of anything else?
Tuesday, I found out Kay's missing. And heard the garbage truck in front of Kay's driveway was sitting there. The driver got out of the truck and was walking around the truck. Just seemed odd. They don't get out of trucks very damned often. Might have been a heavy garbage can. It could be nothing.
Still, with everything piling up, detectives were already starting to follow a quiet lead, one they hoped would solve the mystery before it turned into something much darker.
Hey, are you Clark?
Yes.
Hey, you mind step out here and talk to us for a minute?
Sure.
Do me a favor, just turn around. Put your hands up on the wall for me. I'm just gonna check you, make sure you don't have any weapons. How you doing today, man? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm right.
Are you by yourself, bro?
Yeah.
Where's your mom at?
Last time I saw her was at, we went to the casino.
Have you talked to her since then? When was the last time you talked to her?
4.
You can relax. All right. 4 or 5 days ago?
Kay's house wasn't just empty. It looked abandoned in a hurry. Her bedroom was a mess, with personal belongings scattered in a way that screamed something was wrong. Her purse, wallet, car keys, and even her cell phone were still in the house. And her suitcase, it was fully packed, sitting out in the open. But where was she going? And more importantly, why hadn't she taken anything with her? Her phone was especially troubling. Tucked away under her bedsheets, it raised a serious red flag. If Kay had left voluntarily, why would she have gone without the one device that could connect her to the world? In contrast, her son Clark's room was neat and orderly. His wallet and phone were sitting on the bed as if he had nothing to hide, or wanted to appear that way.
I mean, I'm Detective Gillespie, and it's my partner, Detective Capoe. We want to just talk to you a little bit about your mom, trying to find out if she's okay and see where she's at.
There's no telling where she is. There's all kinds of sketchy people she's been associating with at the casino.
We're just trying to ask you some information about your mother.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Clark himself didn't seem shaken or distressed. He gave vague answers about the last time he saw his mother, claimed she'd been hanging around questionable people, and then refused to provide any more information. That cold detachment disturbed investigators. His mother had vanished under suspicious circumstances, and yet he seemed completely unfazed.
If it was my mother, I would want to be answering as many questions as I could.
I just want to make sure I don't get found guilty of something I'm innocent of. That's all.
All right, that's your decision, okay?
Right.
So, that's fine. Just sit tight for us, all right? He was just real calm, just didn't seem to be bothered by the fact that people are looking for his mom. That's definitely strange, very strange.
With no sign of Kay and no physical evidence of foul play inside the home, detectives were left with suspicion, but no solid proof. Still, they weren't ready to let go of Clark as a possible suspect.
And where the hell did it happen at? There's no trace of anything in the house as far as her. We hadn't seen any blood or anything.
In a strategic move, they secured a court order to place a GPS tracker on his car. If he was hiding something, they were determined to find out.
We're going to see what we can do, maybe get a court order to put a tracker on the car, and keep an eye on him.
Outside the house, the trash cans sparked another thought. Could something have been disposed of right under their noses? Investigators turned their attention to the nearby landfill, hoping it wouldn't come to this, but fearing it already had.
It's my understanding at one point or another, the trash was taken out. It's possible that she could have been in a trash can. So we're going to check the landfill. Hopefully she's not there. Hopefully she's still alive somewhere.
This is the first case I've ever had where I didn't have the body. Makes it a little more difficult. We don't know how she was killed, and we don't even know where she was killed.
If Kay's body had been thrown out, time was already working against them. With cadaver dogs at their side, detectives began the grim task of searching for human remains. But even after combing through heaps of waste, there was nothing. No body, no blood, no answers. The landfill search turned up empty, but the investigation was far from over.
It's definitely a challenge. See if the cadaver dogs can locate any human remains.
They're trained to indicate with the bark alert. She's coming back to me as a negative. She's not finding anything.
We can cross this off our list. We've checked this area. We just got to kind of wait and see where our next place to go look will be. Definitely our priority is to find the victim.
Back at the station, attention shifted to Kay's cell phone. What they discovered changed everything. A series of text messages between Kay and Clark the night before she vanished revealed a brewing storm. In the messages, Kay sounded distressed. She pleaded with Clark to stop calling her, saying she had to work in the morning, and even warned she would involve the police if he didn't leave her alone.
I would ask you please not to cause damage in the house as you have threatened to do. I will call the police.
It was the first direct clue that something may have gone very wrong between mother and son, and that whatever had happened to Kay, it likely didn't begin the day she disappeared.
Right now we're heading back over to Clark Raines' house. The plan is one of our guys puts a tracker on the car.
This wasn't just a missing persons case anymore. It was the beginning of a far darker mystery, one where the truth was lurking just out of reach. As detectives pieced together the final days of Kay Raines' life.
And how's it going?
Good, all right.
Hey, is your mom showed up today? Has she called or anything?
Nope.
There's no contact at all?
No contact so far. They do have my cell phone, though.
Yeah, we've got your cell phone. What we're gonna do is That's your alarm? You never heard the alarm before? That's all right, man. Come back over here for me. Gotta get a search warrant to check your cell phone, and as soon as we're done with that, I'll get it back to you.
The puzzle was beginning to take on a terrifying shape. With every clue, her son Clark was moving closer to the center of a chilling mystery. A few days before she vanished, Kay had sent Clark a desperate message, pleading with him not to destroy the house, something she said he had threatened before.
Get it back to you.
Do you mind if I just ask you a question
Yeah.
about your mom? Is she known to stay gone for days at a time? Or?
I wouldn't say it's like 100% usual, but sometimes, yeah.
If you hear anything, we just want to try to find her. Okay?
That message alone painted a picture of tension and fear inside their home, a far cry from the peaceful life Kay had once known. It also confirmed that their relationship had been unraveling long before she disappeared. Then came a disturbing development. 2 days after Kay went missing, her phone, the same one found tucked beneath her sheets, was used to call the wire transfer service. Detectives couldn't confirm who made the call just yet, but the timing and circumstances made one person stand out: Clark. Investigators moved quickly to contact MoneyGram and request the call recording. They were convinced now that Clark wasn't just being evasive. He might be deeply involved in whatever happened to his mother. In the meantime, detectives circled back to Kay's home with a new plan in motion: to secretly install a GPS tracker on Clark's vehicle. If he had done something to his mother, they hoped he'd eventually lead them to the truth.
I pulled up the tracker because I saw he was out moving around. I was trying to see where he was going, and I just pulled him up, and he stopped in the back parking lot of headquarters right now.
While one officer distracted Clark with questions at the door, another quietly attached the tracker to his car. The setup wasn't difficult, but it was a tense moment. Any slip-up could jeopardize the investigation. Fortunately, the mission was a success. Now they had eyes on Clark 24/7, waiting for him to make a wrong move.
What's going on, man?
Oh, I just came out to get my wallet.
Okay. Just give me a couple days, and we'll get it back to you.
All right.
Any ideas where we can find your mom at?
Just when they thought things couldn't get stranger, new security footage from the Beau Rivage Casino revealed a twist they weren't prepared for. The video showed Kay arriving at the casino, dragging the same red suitcase that was later found at her home. She appeared alone, calm, and very much alive. That was the last time she was seen publicly, and possibly the last time anyone saw her alive.
Can you go to the Beau Rivage? No. Well, you know, the thing is, Clark, there's video of you there Sunday evening.
At the Beau Rivage?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were. I'm telling you were because I saw you on video.
Okay, now that I might have went with her to the Beau Rivage.
You go into her room and get her belongings out of her room.
Oh, yeah. I grabbed her stuff. Yeah, the suitcase. She has me do that all the time.
The next morning, she was caught on camera leaving the casino. Oddly, she didn't take the suitcase with her. Later that day, her car returned to the casino. But this time, it wasn't Kay behind the wheel. It was Clark. Clark entered the building, rode the elevator up to the floor where his mother had stayed, and eventually left with her suitcase and other belongings.
Okay, so where was your mom at when you went in that room?
I don't know. She was either like at that other casino, like cashing out, or nah. Not at all.
Her wallet's at the house. Everything of hers is at the house, and you hadn't even tried to look for her. That's a problem.
You know what has happened to your mom.
Yeah. I'll tell you what happened to her. You know, your head off to the point where she's a completely different person. I don't know where she is still. It's only been 9 days. So I'm sure she'll show up.
The sequence of events was chilling. Hours after his mother disappeared, he re-entered the place she was last seen and collected her things like he had every right to. To detectives, it wasn't just suspicious. It was damning. With Clark's movements now on record and more digital evidence on the way, including phone records and the wire transfer call, investigators were closing in. Though Kay was still missing, the picture was becoming clearer. Something dark had happened. and Clark was no longer just a person of interest. He was now their prime suspect. As days passed, detectives anxiously awaited two key pieces of evidence: Clark's phone records and the call made to MoneyGram. But before either came in, something unexpected happened. Clark showed up at the homicide division himself. According to the GPS tracker on his car, he had driven straight to police headquarters and parked in the back. It caught the detectives off guard. Was he finally ready to talk? Turns out, he wasn't. Clark casually mentioned he came to retrieve his wallet and showed no concern for the ongoing search for his missing mother. This brief visit, however, gave detectives the perfect opportunity to confront him with the casino surveillance footage. When pressed about it, Clark reluctantly admitted to collecting Kay's belongings from her hotel room, something he claimed to do often. But when asked where she was at that time, his answer was vague and evasive, claiming she might have been at another casino. The detectives knew better. Kay's wallet and keys were still at her home, and there was no sign that she had gone anywhere voluntarily. After leaving headquarters without any remorse or worry, Clark's daily movements were monitored closely. But oddly enough, he didn't visit any suspicious places. Meanwhile, loved ones of Kay organized community searches in nearby abandoned areas, desperate for answers.
It's a very big area, easily a couple 100 acres of searchable locations. It's all wooded areas, plenty of trails.
Right there.
No, nothing in that area.
The pain of not knowing haunted them daily. Then came the breakthrough. The call recording from MoneyGram finally arrived. A male voice, clearly Clark's, pretended to be Kay, even providing her birth date, trying to send $800.
Thanks for calling MoneyGram.
I'm trying to send money.
Can I have your name?
My name is Kay, K-A-Y, Rain, R-A-I-N-E-S. I'm trying to send money, and I didn't get the check confirmation.
Can I have your date of birth?
My birth date is
Yes.
9/19/40.
The voice was calm and confident, but the transaction failed. It was a bold attempt at deception, and now detectives had proof.
The transaction was rejected by your financial institution.
Okay, thank you.
Clark wasn't just hiding something. He was actively impersonating his missing mother for money. The pieces were falling into place. Despite all signs pointing to Clark, detectives were stuck. The evidence was piling up, but it was all circumstantial, not enough to lock in a murder charge. The weight of the case lingered in their minds long after they left the station each day. There was a woman missing, and her son remained the central figure in every possible theory. Yet, the truth still felt just out of reach. Then, nearly 2 weeks after Kay vanished, detectives got their hands on something they'd been desperately waiting for: Clark's cell phone records. And that's when they found it. A trip to a remote, isolated area just 2 days after her disappearance. It was exactly the kind of clue they'd hoped to find, a location that could finally lead them to Kay.
If he was going to dump her anywhere, it would be in these areas that we've checked. Yeah. I searched a lot of places and didn't find anything. This was the area that we had probably the most hopes for. If we had the body, we could probably resolve this case, but we don't.
The area stretched across nearly 300 acres of thick woods and trails. It was rugged, dense, and the perfect place to hide something, or someone. The search was intense. Teams moved through the forested land, combing through brush, ditches, and creeks. But in the end, they found nothing. It was heartbreaking. This was the spot they believed had the best chance of holding the answers. Without a body, they were still stuck in limbo. The investigation continued. The tracker on Clark's car told a troubling story, not of random wandering, but of quiet financial desperation. He'd been visiting pawn shops, selling household items for quick cash. He even returned to the same casino, trying to redeem his mother's gambling receipts. These weren't the actions of a man searching for a missing parent. They were the steps of someone trying to quietly erase her presence. Detectives decided it was time to confront Clark again. A full month had passed since Kay went missing. His money was running low. His behavior remained cold, emotionless. They hoped the pressure would finally crack him.
Hey, Clark, what's going on, man? Hey, step out the house for me, okay?
In about 30 days, you said you would start being concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I am concerned.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you concerned enough to sit down and talk with us again?
Instead, Clark talked about himself, his past, his time in rehab, his struggles with addiction, and his fractured relationship with his mother.
Oh, man, what's going on with you? Doing all right?
I mean, yeah.
Stuff's got to be getting real to you now. The money's running out. You don't have any money, right?
Things aren't like that great right now, and yeah, I'm going through a rough time in my mind.
And all you care about is yourself, Clark?
Yeah.
That's what it seems like. You're going through a rough time. Your freaking mother is dead.
That deep breath you just took there, seems like you were thinking about something.
I'm just going a million places at once in my mind.
He spoke of wanting comfort, of returning home for simple things like a warm meal. But through it all, one thing remained absent: remorse. He showed no emotion over Kay's disappearance.
Well, the one place that we want you to go to is what happened to your mom.
You need to sit here and you need to really think, and you need to tell us what happened to your mom. So tell us about yours and your mom's relationship.
I lived away from home for a long time, and when I came back, things were, distant.
Who all lived with you when you were growing up?
Just me, my dad, and my mom. He's deceased.
So detectives pushed harder. They laid out everything: the phone impersonation, the casino footage, the items pawned. None of it made sense if Kay was alive. But Clark still denied any involvement. His deflection was exhausting. For detectives, the frustration had reached its peak. They were certain he was responsible, but without a body, there were still no charges that would file. As they left Clark, they made one thing clear: time was running out. With every new day, they were getting closer. The truth wasn't going to stay buried forever. The moment they found Kay, everything would change. They had no intention of letting this end in silence. For weeks, detectives feared Case was slipping into silence. Leads had dried up, and without a body, they couldn't move forward. But in late March 2017, the device they'd secretly placed on Clark's car revealed something strange. A short, unexpected stop in a remote wooded area off Highway 225 in Baldwin County, Alabama. It wasn't just the location that raised eyebrows. It was how briefly he stayed. Just 15 minutes in the middle of nowhere, then he drove straight home. It felt deliberate, almost like a grim routine.
Kind of off the road in the woods. He was there for about 15 minutes. And then he comes back out, turns around and goes back home.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting there.
The investigative team didn't hesitate. They followed Clark's trail back to the secluded site, walking deeper into the forest, guided only by instinct and technology. And then it happened. The forest gave up its secret. Buried in the earth was a shallow grave. The crime scene unit was called in, along with forensic experts. What they uncovered was heartbreaking. The body was in poor condition from decomposition, but the clothes were a match. It was Kay. She had been buried in an unnatural position, her limbs awkwardly twisted backward, a chilling sign that she may have been bound before death. It was a moment that confirmed every suspicion the team had carried for months. Finally, they had the evidence they needed. With the discovery of Kay's body, there was no more hiding for Clark. Detectives brought him in one last time. But even when faced with the reality of the grave he'd revisited just the day before, Clark showed no remorse.
I went to the gas station. I got gas and then made my egg sandwich.
You said you made an egg sandwich?
Yeah.
Here's the bottom line. We've had a tracker on your vehicle this whole time. Yesterday, when you drove up to where you went, it tracked you going up there. I want you to look at this right here. You took us to your mom's grave yesterday.
He denied, he deflected. He claimed confusion, but none of it mattered anymore. The truth had already been unearthed. Literally, Clark had unknowingly led detectives straight to the grave.
You owe that to her. Clark,
What happened to your mom?
I don't know what to say.
Tell us what happened. Man up. She's gone. Because you killed her.
I killed my mom. I don't know what else to do. I don't know anything about it.
You can't remember driving up yesterday?
I didn't drive anywhere.
You did, Clark. You fucking did. There's no doubt in that.
For 2 months, the tracker on his vehicle quietly followed his every move. And now, the full story was starting to piece itself together. Investigators learned Clark had also visited a shopping plaza in Mobile, where they found empty bags of topsoil in a dumpster. The same kind he had purchased from Home Depot along with a shovel. Everything he had done in secret was now screaming in plain sight.
And your opportunity will then be over. Your chance to tell your side of the story will be done. So you're fine with that?
Yeah.
On March 28, 2017, Clark Rains was formally charged with the murder of his mother, Kay Atkins Rains. In addition to the murder charge, he faced 13 counts of credit card fraud, having used his mother's identity after her death.
It's hard to even imagine somebody that would do something like that to their own mother, the one person that raised him and has taken care of him since he was born. I think Clark could have killed her because he felt like she blew his inheritance. As time went by in this investigation, I got a little discouraged and kind of got to the point where I didn't know if we were ever going to find.
For detectives who had spent months chasing shadows, the arrest brought some long-awaited validation. Still, the emotional weight of the case lingered. The horror wasn't just in the act, but in who the victim was, a mother betrayed by her own child. Kay had been the one constant in Clark's life, the parent who raised him, stood by him through addiction, trouble with the law, and attempts at rebuilding. That same loyalty became her downfall. As investigators speculated, it wasn't rage or revenge that fueled Clark's actions. It was greed. A belief that Kay's gambling habits were eating away at money he felt entitled to. Rather than confront that feeling or walk away, Clark chose violence. It took years for the case to see the inside of a courtroom. Legal delays, questions about Clark's mental competence, and other procedural issues slowed the process. But in 2019, a judge ruled that Clark was fit to stand trial. The long wait finally ended in March 2022, when court proceedings began. The trial drew public attention, not just because of the gruesome details, but because of the gut-wrenching betrayal at the heart of it. A son murdering his mother over money, and then burying her in a makeshift grave as though she were nothing. It rattled the community, but justice was served. On March 23, 2022, Clark was found guilty, and on August 8th of that year, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As for Kay, her memory lived on. Friends described her as kind, accepting, and full of life. She had a lightness about her that made people feel at ease, and she carried herself with grace, even during personal hardship.
We know now that she was going through her own living nightmare when Ron passed away. I said, Kay, are you going to wear black to the funeral? And she said, absolutely not. She showed up with the most beautiful floral print jacket on, and she was like, his life was happy, and I'm going to show up happy.
When her husband passed away, she refused to wear black to the funeral. Instead, she wore a bright floral jacket, a quiet rebellion against sorrow. Her friends understood this about her. Kay believed in celebrating life, even in the face of death. After her murder, a close friend who was also an artist created a small statue in her honor, a figure holding a magazine, a phone, and her signature Alabama beach towel.
This is a little statue of Kay that a friend of hers that was an artist made. Kay always had her magazine and her cell phone, and then, of course, her little Alabama beach towel.
It was a simple but powerful tribute to a woman who didn't judge people by appearances or backgrounds. Kay had built a circle of love around her, friends from different walks of life, each touched by her kindness.
I think one of the reasons Kay had so many friends from all different races, types of people, is because she didn't have any judgment on anybody. We know now that she was going through her own living nightmare when Ron passed away.
In the end, Kay's story is not just one of tragedy, but also of strength. Her life was cut short by betrayal, but it didn't erase the love she gave or the people who continue to mourn her loss. For the detectives who worked tirelessly on her case, solving it wasn't just a professional mission, it became personal. They saw the kind of person Kay had been, and they understood how much she deserved justice. Clark Rains, now serving a life sentence, never showed the sorrow or remorse one might expect. And perhaps that's what will haunt everyone involved most. Not just the crime, but the coldness that followed it. Kay's memory, however, won't be defined by how she died. It will be remembered by those who knew her, those who saw her joy, her loyalty, and her heart.